We're very pleased to announce the official launch of the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Focus Group. And tonight, to lead some of our presentations, we are joined by Gary Kennedy. Gary is a longtime member of PMI-NL and was actually on the board in 2001 in our founding year. Since then, Gary has been a mentor, a volunteer, and has had quite a few hats, I think, with the PMI-NL over the years, and has now recently taken on the role of ambassador for our construction focus group and has led the way in developing what we hope will be a really incredible opportunity for PMI-NL members. So Gary, take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for the warm welcome. And I got a lot of people around me to thank, and I'll just touch on a few people here and there because it's a big crowd of people that made this happen. I guess we can go to the next slide. Yeah, there we go. So it goes back over a year, probably a year and a half. Peter, I guess that's when the launch was made of the PMI chapter of Ireland construction community of practice, and
Absolutely.
I watched online my friend Raphael Ani, and I was on his LinkedIn list and mailing list and so on because we met in Boston when I was down helping out with getting the PMI-CP training courses started and exercised. I was doing a beta test down there, and Bob May and Raphael was down there, and so I tagged on to the presentation and from Ireland, and Raphael was helping to launch the Ireland construction community of practice for the PMI there. And I said, hey, this is very interesting. And so I watched the presentation, and he talked about the CP certification that I was knowledgeable of, but this community thing was something else. Was adding on to the construction people in the PMI. So I said, wouldn't it be a great combination? So luckily, I've known Pat Lucy a fair bit over the years with touching base at conferences and so on, and sending each other good cultural jokes, because Newfoundland and Ireland have a lot of common culture and language. We have a big Irish settlement of people here in Newfoundland, and so we were always in good humor with each other. And I said, okay, how do I get something going like the Ireland construction community of practice? And I also contacted Raphael about the same thing. And eventually, making the story a little bit shorter, I was put in touch with Peter, and he's now president of the Ireland chapter of PMI. And that's just a couple of pictures there on the front on that first slide. Believe it or not, the bottom left corner are my ancestors, and they are in Newfoundland, which is where I am now, of course. But they are on my grandmother's home island called Ireland's Eye in Trinity Bay, Newfoundland. So that's my grandmother's home, is Ireland's Eye in Trinity Bay, and that's my father, uncle, aunt, everybody there back in 1940, 42, somewhere around there. And the other pictures on the far right is a picture I took at Trinity College when I went there in 2017 for my second trip. My first trip in Ireland was my honeymoon in 1996. And I took that picture of Jonathan Swift's quote there. And we have Trinity College there in the center, and on the just left of that is our Memorial University of Newfoundland clock tower. So we're all friends. We all have common ground and great fertile soil to have a good chit chat about the construction community and getting our events and common interests put together. Next slide, please. Okay, Peter, did you want to go ahead and speak? And he and I came up with this taxi acronym, which we've proposed. I don't know if it's 100% final, but I think it looks pretty good. Peter, did you want to say something on
Yeah,
the
I
topic?
mean, firstly, just to say how pleased I am that I was invited this evening in to join you. I'm the president of the Ireland chapter of PMI, as Gary said, and I have to say I've really enjoyed getting to know Gary over the last period, and we've had many, many conversations about PMI and about Newfoundland and Ireland. So we, as a chapter within Ireland, we're just about to go into uh, what's called single membership, which you're probably familiar with, where we're going to increase our number of members. So we're currently sitting with about 2,000 members. And from January 28th next year, over a period of time, we'll be increasing up to about 3,600. So we're about 26, 27 years old as a chapter. And we've got a very active board. We've a board of 19 people, and we've got a volunteer group of about 60. So I'm very, very privileged to have a fabulous board that is working with me, and we've got a fabulous group of people who all get on really well and who are all friends outside of PMI as well. So that makes a huge difference. So as Gary said, we started our journey on the construction side back about 18 months ago, where for some time we had been planning on having a stronger foothold on the construction side here in Ireland. And we have a number of communities of practice that we operate within the Ireland chapter. There are four now. So we set it up about 18 months ago. Obviously, went through a period of obviously having to build profile and do all of that. But we, we've been very happy with how the launch went. It's been great to have Gary as well, who's been involved with us on that journey. So it's been a great shared experience. It's been shared learning, and I'm delighted that I'm here with you this evening.
Yes, and we came up with this acronym, the taxi, which TACSEE. We had some good laughs before we hit taxi. We sent each other acronyms that were out of this world for about 3 months, and it was more fun than anything. But we
Some
we
of them
feel
we never would have got away with, Gary.
no, not in public anyway. But we're party people, as you know, with their Irish heritage. But anyway, taxi. So you can pronounce it taxi as in taxi cab, right? And we can call it the Ireland Newfoundland taxi or Newfoundland Ireland taxi, whatever. We'll call it the taxi, and it stands for Transatlantic Construction Storytellers. And we kind of like the storytellers part together because you get people with some construction experience, and you don't even need slides and diagrams and charts and so on. You tell an interesting story about what happened to you on the job site, and you've got 10, 20, 30 years experience. And people just love hearing that sort of thing. And not only that, young people, the beginners, they got stories too because they didn't they didn't know something when they went to a site and got into some kind of misunderstanding with somebody. And sometimes that makes a good story. So we figured storytellers was a good word for us. And then we said with education and experience. So let Peter and I had some really good chats about the common ground we've got with Newfoundland and Labrador with Ireland. And well, we're both big islands, you know, and procurement is always a challenge. If you're separated by water, even if it's a narrow bit of water, procurement is a big thing in construction that you're going to have to be concerned about. And then if you're a separate entity like a state or a province, then you've got your tariffs and taxes and all kinds of things to be cognizant of, governance, as in your government, not just your project team, and so on. But we also have offshore interests. Well, we've got traditional fishing interests, but we have offshore oil and gas, wind energy, Peter, did you want to mention anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I think, like Gary just said, we're both islands, but that has quite a lot of sea. The wind energy focus in Ireland is quite significant, and there's been significant investment within offshore energy here in Ireland over recent years. And in fact, one of our board members, he's a guy called Mark Davenport. He actually works for the National Electricity Company, and he specializes in these mega projects. So it's something that we're very focused on within the Ireland chapter of PMI.
And Peter and I had, various conversations which are too long for here, but we're just doing an introduction. I think we got a lot of material for the next 12, 24, 36 months between us and other people that I've heard about that are interested in this sort of thing. And again, let's do the storyteller mentor sort of thing and see where it goes and any other ideas people got and welcome people from all other sectors too. Come in, see what we're about in construction. Come in from the software side, come in from the insurance or government administration side. And see and observe and find out what we have in common here. But one of the things that Peter and I, as a continuation of the wind energy part there, is that Newfoundland and Labrador has built up world-class expertise in offshore engineering, offshore design and construction for our own oil fields, the gravity-based structures and so on. And uh, that won't go astray when it comes to offshore wind. So let's all have some good conversations and see where it goes, and then also look at our manufacturing industry, shipbuilding. That's construction. That's let's not narrowly define construction. We've got commercial construction, we've got residential construction, institutional. Uh, it's the stage gate precedence track generally, but we also know there's things in there that are now being uh, called in the software area like agile and that's all there. They're welcome and it's already there. So let's be inclusive and look at these sectors, have some fun, tell some stories, learn some things, meet some people.
Yeah.
Peter,
The
did you
other
have? Yep.
the other areas, Gary, just to mention from the Irish context. So the other two areas which are very big within construction in Ireland at the moment are we've got a significant housing crisis here in Ireland.
Right.
So there's been significant immigration into Ireland in recent years. And I heard recently that for every house that we currently build in Ireland, we have four people coming into the country.
Right.
So there's a huge house building program that is in train now. Our vice president Daniel Eagling, um, he actually works for the government agency which has been set up with the task of actually building a significant number of housing units across Ireland. I think they're targeting 60,000 houses a year at the moment,
Wow.
but they're far off that target. So that's a big focus for us. The other one is that we've just kind of here in Ireland, we don't necessarily have a history of having big mega projects, but we're just about to complete uh, what's called the National Children's Hospital, which is in Dublin. And it is an investment of over €2.5 billion in a single hospital, which will provide and actually cater for all children, certainly in the city of Dublin and even wider outside of it. And that's been a significant project that's been going on for about 10 years. It's been very high profile in the media. There have been a few failures already. And that's probably our single largest construction project here in Ireland at the moment.
Wow. That's amazing. Uh, so good to hear. Uh, moving forward, I think, we've had a challenge over the last few years with COVID has affected the economy everywhere worldwide, but I think we're coming back, and it's going to be very interesting to see where we go in the next few years. I'm kind of excited about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. This is Peter's expertise here for the Ireland chapter. Go ahead, Peter.
So some of this I have touched on already, but just a short recap. So obviously we set up our construction community of practice. The main focus has been within this year. Now we did a launch event back a number of months ago, which was actually had as a panel discussion. Now we agreed sponsorship with KSN Project Management, who I think are global. And they came in and they actually sponsored the events and the actual group. Now we target doing 4 or 5 events a year for this group. We generally do about 2 events a month. In some months we do more than that. But as a chapter, as a whole, we aim to have about 24, 25 events in the year. And of that, 4 or 5 of those will be on the construction side. So we got our group off to a really good start this year. Unfortunately, our lead, who was leading the group, he got a super duper job to lead out on data center construction across Europe, and because of that, he's doing a lot of traveling, so he's had to step back from it. But we're just about to appoint a new lead to the group and to reinvigorate that coming into January. So we're very excited about that. But I suppose on the other side to it is we went out to the media as well, and we did various media articles. You can see an example there on the right hand side where the main magazine in the Irish construction sector, we had a full page article on that back in July. I would say probably here in Ireland, of all the sectors that we focus on within PMI, the one on that is on construction is probably the one that we have probably the least foothold in, but we also see it as an opportunity for having a significant increase in membership, for actually having that level of cross learning, of cross collaboration, and there's been a lot of interest in it, and certainly we're very, very happy with the level of interest in it and the media profile that we have from the sector. And I think we have a lot more to come in this space. So it's been a really good experience. We've really enjoyed working with having Gary involved in it as well. He's been very supportive, and we're excited about working with you guys in partnership going forward.
Well, that's wonderful. I think we've got a good recipe here with anchoring ourselves in our chapters so that the chapter members get great value just by being members of those chapters. And there could be local in-person, or there will be local in-person events and opportunity for networking, face-to-face sort of thing. But also take advantage of our international capabilities with virtual meetings and virtual events like we're doing right now, and have the best of both worlds combined. And I hope that idea works. I think it will. With good people around me, like and ourselves, like the people we have here that help put this together. Thank you very much.
Something else worth mentioning, Gary, something else that that is helpful to mention is every year we do a National Project Awards in association with PwC here in Ireland. And we've just run the awards back on the 14th of November, so it's very current. And this year, for the first year ever, we brought in a new category of under 35 change makers. And we selected five younger people who have exceptional talent within change. And we're really, really pleased that we have one from the construction sector. He's a guy called James Doggett. Really good guy. He's only in his 20s. He's achieved so much. And it's really good to see a very strong cohort of young people
Yeah.
who are coming up in construction, and it's fabulous.
Excellent. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gary and Peter, and thank you so much for your work on getting everything off the ground and developing all of this. We as a board really, really appreciate all the work that you've put in. I also want to take a quick moment to thank Roxana as well. And I know, Gary, you probably feel very much the same way as I do about this. She went above and beyond to be sort of a board liaison in getting the this initiative set up. So before we get into some details as to how members can join the CFG and kind of keep in touch with everything that's going on that front, we have an additional special guest here today. We are joined by Ricardo, who is a strategic manager for the PMI construction certification with PMI Global. So prior to joining PMI, Ricardo worked for more than 20 years managing multinational projects in multiple sectors, including nonprofits, multilateral development bank, financial services, and consumer packaged goods. With an expertise in strategy, marketing, and public-private partnerships, Ricardo has demonstrated his ability to thrive in diverse project and global environments. So Ricardo is here to present to us some of the initiatives that PMI Global is taking on to support those who are either in construction or aspiring to be. So Ricardo, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll hand it over to you.
Peter and Gary set it up very nicely. Although, we talked about Newfoundland and Labrador and Ireland, we have focus groups, communities of practice, and more importantly, we launched the Construction Ambassador Program globally earlier this year. We have construction ambassadors currently from about 40 something countries, and they represent sort of the initiative from the chapter in their local jurisdiction, country, state, etc. And what PMI has done is these volunteers from the chapter, and Peter, we're going to launch this in Europe later this year, but you have the opportunity to get the first go at it, where we provide a sponsorship for the certification for at least 2 people from the chapter, free of cost, including the courses and the examination fee as well, so that they are steeped in what the construction certification is about, and they can, speak more informed to the membership. So I'm very pleased to be here to launch the focus group. It is really exciting what construction means for PMI. I think there's some history that PMI was started. One of the founders was in construction. But over the years, I think PMI and the PMP was sort of associated more with IT than any other sector. And so we heard from members the need for something specific for the construction sector. And, after a long deliberation and research, we were able to come up with the PMI Construction Professional, which is the PMI CP. And I was also pleased to hear some of the work from Ireland. This in 2025, for the first time as well, PMI will have a category in its awards for a construction project recognition. So that sort of tells you, and from our research, it shows that about 10 to about 30% of the membership belong to some aspect of construction. But unfortunately, we have not been programming in this area as much. And so a lot of the members, at least from the feedback we got, feel quite disillusioned. So this is an opportunity to re-engage with our current membership, as well as, and Peter put it very nicely, attract a new caliber of members within the chapter that we can look to for expansion. So that is an exciting prospect that this engagement provides and the focus group and the work that Gary will be doing. So we're pleased with the initiatives that have started so far. Towards 2035 and beyond, I think we have a
Construction is one of the biggest industries in the world. It represents up to 13% of global GDP. An order of magnitude of tens of trillions of dollars are invested in annual global construction. Peter previously discussed the significant housing initiatives that Ireland has undertaken to manage their residential infrastructure, and they also have that massive hospital project in Dublin as a critical institutional necessity. Similarly, in Newfoundland and Labrador, we are in the process of getting critical improvements made to our healthcare and residential capacities.
At the same time, the industry has a tremendous shortage of skilled labor currently. And in order to meet the demand towards 2035 and beyond, I think we have a significant opportunity for upskilling of current professionals within the sector, as well as attracting new talent in the sector. So I like to say that you're really are in the right space here with the opportunities that are current as well as upcoming in the construction sector. So the construction industry sort of is on three pivots. So you have the process, and a lot of work has taken place there with advances in new processes, including the last planner system, advanced work packaging, lean construction that was borrowed from the manufacturing sector in Japan, and also, tremendous progress, potential and success in this area, as well as technology. So we see a lot of new technology introduced to the construction sector, 3D printing, blockchain technology, and the like. Unfortunately, the people side, as I mentioned before, requires some attention. So PMI went to the marketplace and really brought together some of the biggest players in the construction industry. And the PMI-CP was born out of feedback from the industry in terms of the pain points that the industry had recognized. And many of the modules in this certification respond directly to some of the pain points in the construction industry. And when we talk construction, as Gary mentioned, it's broad, it's built environment. So it really touches on pure construction, infrastructure, utilities, anything that touches an element of construction is considered in the construction sector that we're looking at. Sorry, so the PMI-CP is 7 modules or 7 courses and 2 levels of certification, and I'll go into that a bit later. We started out in about November 2021 with the launch of the first 3 modules. And then we released the next 4 modules between January and May 2022. The exam was introduced in August 2022. In January 2024, we introduced the instructor-led version of this course. And in February 2024, we sort of looked at the 2-stage version of the certification. So as you can see, it's fairly very new in the marketplace, and we've received tremendous positive feedback from people who have taken these courses. So the PMI-CP, as it currently stands, is 4 core courses that are required. So you have construction project communication, construction scope and change order management, construction interface management, and construction contract and risk management. With those, you're required to apply for the PMP to be considered for the exam, and the requirement there is at least 3 years of construction industry experience within the last 10 years. We have 3 additional courses: the Construction Performance and Materials Management, Construction Technology and Innovation, and Construction Execution Planning. With those and the PMI-CP, you get a new senior construction professional designation. We also launched the Digital Construction Practitioner course, and this is a partnership with Oracle Construction, and really understanding how to digitalize the construction data to essentially look at new ways of thinking through tools and this technology and how to improve performance and reporting within construction projects. This was recently launched, I believe, about June of this year. The core elements of the PMI-CP looks at lean ways of working, a data-driven approach, and the use of the most advanced technology as it relates to the sector. So the key value proposition for businesses as well as individuals is essentially upskilling professionals in order to deliver projects more efficiently, a higher quality, and risk management, leading to improved client satisfaction, providing individuals and businesses with an overall competitive advantage, and growing the organizations or individual professional growth as well. So since its introduction in the marketplace, and this is the statistic here is a little dated, we have more than 18,000 individual courses that have been completed. The South Africa Construction Industry Regulatory Authority, SACP CMP, they've gone out into the marketplace and evaluated all of the offerings for construction training, and they've settled on the PMI-CP as the credential of choice for the construction industry in South Africa. And they're actually moving to Parliament to make it mandatory for any professional construction project manager in South Africa to have the PMI-CP as a mandatory requirement, which is absolutely fantastic. In Saudi Arabia, the Human Resources Development Fund also recognizes the PMI-CP as one of the credentials to upskill the new workforce of 2030 for the 2030 vision, and will provide a full refund for any citizen that takes and passes the PMI-CP. These are some of the quick wins that we've had over the last little while. We're talking to many of the regulatory agencies, government agencies around the world to recognize the PMI-CP for CPDs and PDUs and endorsements in terms of recognizing it as part of their development in the construction sector. I touched on this a bit. So the eligibility is 3 years on-the-job experience within the last 10 years, and the successful completion of any of the 4 core courses in any order. This could be done, as I indicated, either self-paced at your own leisure, or through an authorized training provider in an instructor-led environment through a classroom setting. The actual exam is about 120 questions over 230 minutes, and it's a proctored exam, very similar to the PMP exam. The primary domains that are covered: contract management, stakeholder engagement, strategy and scope management, and project governance. I indicated that the formats could be self-paced or through a classroom setting. Each course for the e-learning or the self-paced version is about 6 to 10 hours of dedicated time per course. This varies. It could be less, depending on the amount of time you have to dedicate to it. And for the instructor-led version, we estimate about 2 days per training course in a classroom setting. Some have been able to make this into a shorter version, but it depends on the instructor and their comfort with the material as well. In terms of the instructor-led version, it could be customized because it's a case-based module. And so it could be customized depending on who it's being delivered to, the organization, etc. And again, the comfort level of the instructor with the material that they're delivering. And we have here a sort of testimonial, well, from one of the early learners, that within the next 5 to 10 years, he anticipates about 50% of construction professionals will hold the PMI-CP and therefore expect a 50% decrease in projects that exceed their allocated budget or timeline or fail to deliver the expected results, which is fantastic. Here, it really goes into the individual courses and what is covered here. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time on this. We will share the presentation, so you'll have an opportunity to really dig into each of the course and what is covered by it. With that, I will pause here for any questions that you have.
We have a question from Patrick.
Hello, Ricardo. Thanks for joining us this evening. I know it's quite early in the morning for you, so I appreciate your time. If you don't mind, would you be able to go on to your presentation, page 17? You have a question with respect to the statement at the very end, about on time and on budget. I have a question with respect to that. Are you able to pull up your presentation again, Ricardo? Page 17?
Sure.
Did we lose Ricardo? Nope. Yes. And so the statement is, I expect to see a 50% decrease in projects that exceed their allocated budget or timeline or fail to deliver the expected benefits. And so I was a board member for the Canadian Construction Association, as well as our local LCA, Local Construction Association. And a hot topic over the years past, maybe in 2020, was with respect to the quality of documents. And what do you think, can be done to link this designation of PMI-CP, so that in fact, based on the quality of documents, that at least in Canada, we're seeing that they're not quite there yet. For this statement, finishing projects with allocated budgets or timelines. Maybe it might be a link with respect to the contract, as a lump sum contract compared to maybe an IPD contract. Could you elaborate maybe on that? Do you understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, so I think this is a testimonial from an individual. So let's focus on that for a minute.
Sure.
But I think what we're saying here is, as we upskill and reskill professionals within the sector, the approach will be different. We'll be speaking the same language with the same type of bringing a different feel, a different approach to the sector. So I know there's been some as you indicated, some documentation issues, but if we all are speaking the same language with the same approach, I think it will change the way we look at everything, including approach to contract and risk management.
I agree with that statement. Thank you. You know, when I obtained my PMP, you know, definitely it helped, you know, learn new language and new styles of thinking in order to deliver my construction projects just that much better. So, yeah, thank you for that, Ricardo.
Yeah. And I know this question is probably in some people's minds, so I'll try to address it. In terms of the distinction between the PMP and the PMI-CP, one of the things I like to equate it to is the medical field, where you know the PMP could be looked at as a general practice certification, whereas is sector agnostic. So you can be a general practitioner and look at a patient in any area. Whereas the PMI-CP is very specific to the construction sector and could only be applied to the construction sector. So it's very much like a brain surgeon, where it's a very, very specific material that is only applicable to the construction sector. Of course, with the PMP, this could be a fantastic build. So if you have that foundation basis already, the PMI-CP certainly helps to build on that, although it's not a requirement for professionals within the sector, but it certainly helps.
Excellent. Thank you, Ricardo. Are there any other questions for Ricardo?
I'd like to make at least a statement to see if I get. I guess it's a rhetorical question to Ricardo. It's the exam, the syllabus, the material. I'm in the middle of it now myself, and I also helped with the beta test back in last year, and it's very detailed. It's a challenging exam. It's not just a flick of a pen or whatever. I think there's a lot of effort and heart gone into it, you know, and trying to cover the scope, and maybe it'll keep evolving and you know, continual improvement in that. But Ricardo, I guess you might agree with me that, you know, we're encouraging people to look into it, but it's, you know, it's substantial. You know, it's worth going after. You know, there's a lot of good material in there. Indices, the Construction Industry Institute has partnered up with the PMI, and there's a lot of good information in there with indexes and scope indexes and all performance indexes and all that sort of stuff, right?
That's right. I'm in the height of it as well. I just was doing contract and risk management module, and indeed, it's not to be underestimated. We've had people with you know, 30 years in the construction sector and thought, oh, I can just do this easily, and came back to say, you know, I really underestimated what was required here. So I don't want to scare anybody, but it's a tough module, but at the same time, it's rewarding as well. So yeah.
Excellent. Kenny?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Hi, Ricardo. Nice to meet you. And how's Dubai? I used to work in UAE just a couple of years back. It's nice to see someone from the UAE. So I was just going to ask, so if you look at the PMP syllabus, right? Some couple of years back, it used to be very focused on traditional predictive, right, which is more suited to the construction industry. But just like you said, over the years, as IT started to kind of like take over more of the PMP, then we started to see concepts like agile, and the new PMP exams now is very agile heavy, right? So it's more or less like 50-50, right? So just kind of curious, on the PMI CP, is it very focused on traditional, or we're having that mix of agile concepts as well in the construction projects?
Yeah, it's. I think you have a mix, like Gary indicated. Part of the content, we have partnerships with the Lean Construction Institute, the Construction Industry Institute. So a lot of the materials that is covered there is borrowed content. Well, not borrowed content, but the content from the latest research that's been done by some of these, high rollers in terms of content generation within the industry. So yeah, there is some agile data-driven approaches, some of the technology solutions that is currently available. So it is, I think, up to speed with the latest approaches to construction.
Excellent. Any other questions from the group? No? All right. Well, thank you, Ricardo. We really, really appreciate you coming today and sharing all of this with us. It's exciting to see industry-specific content and focus being brought to a lot of what PMI and Global has been working towards. So really, really appreciate your insight. And yes, if you can please send along the slides, we'll make sure that they get shared with the group as well.
Wonderful.
Excellent, thank you. So if you are hearing what you or liking what you hear this evening, and you are interested in joining PMI-NL's construction focus group, we do have a sign up form. So you can find this either on our website, pminl.ca. We have a complete page solely for the construction focus group. And then we also have the sign up form. So by signing up in this form, you will gain access to additional communications from PMI-NL focused specifically on the construction focus group. So Gary, Leslie, our other construction ambassador, and the PMI-NL board are going to be working hard in the next few months to get everything up and going and start planning some activities for this group. So if you want to be a part of it, please sign up so that you can stay informed and see these events coming in. We'll also be, of course, sharing a lot of it on our social media as well, but just so that you gain that sort of immediate email access. And then, of course, if you have any questions or you want more information on the CFG, please feel free to reach out to PMI-NL. One of our board members will link you up to Gary or Leslie if you want some more information about how the Construction Ambassador Program and the Construction Focus Group really work.
Can I add just one more little bit of icing on the cake with the CFG? Yesterday, I had my very first monthly ambassador meeting, virtual meeting. Ricardo was there, and I'm sure a few other people that are on this meeting right now, they might have been there. But when we brought up the same topic about the CFG and how we got together with Ireland, pretty much mentored us into this, and then gave us the inspiration. But we had more excitement from other people, and they're contacting me now. A representative from New Jersey chapter said she loves the model we got put together with Ireland and that, and let's funnel through the chapters. Let's keep the home fires burning there with with the local interaction and funnel it through the chapter, and then let's make an international bunch of connections, and then we're all in the same circle then. But keep it real on the ground with the chapter to get that handshake networking and meetings one-on-one going too. So anyway, thank you very much.
Absolutely, Gary. It's really exciting. Thank you, Ricardo and Peter, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll cross paths again as this construction focus group really starts to flesh out.